It's the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood to be held March 3rd, 2015 at 6 p.m. at the Council Chambers building. And I'd like to introduce you tonight to Tammy Yoakum, who is sitting in Ruben Howdige's space. Mr. Howdige is absent tonight, and she is a member of the Verde Valley Leadership Group, and she is shadowing me tonight. And I'd also like to mention that Matt McLean, our Deputy City Clerk, is also a member of this class. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to share any information about shadowing or anything like that?
Verde Valley Leadership is looking for new class members for Class 10. If you're interested in this great opportunity, see me afterward. Matt or I could tell you about that. And this is my first shadow experience with Mayor Jones.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is the roll call, and our Deputy Clerk will perform the roll call.
Councilmember Pratt.
Here.
Councilmember Dowling.
Here.
Councilmember Linsky.
Here.
Councilmember Garrison.
Present.
Vice Mayor Pfeiffer.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
And Councilmember Howdige is absent.
Okay, thank you. If you would all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is a brief summary of current events by the Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. The public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action on any matter brought up during this summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. Mr. Bartosh.
Madam Mayor, council members, the only thing I have for the council and the public is that we should see them start working on 12th Street this week. They were supposed to start today, and they're probably out there doing some work, but they may get a little bit of a delay from the rain. So we're moving.
That's great. I can't wait to see that whole street done. Council members, any reports tonight? Okay, let's see. We have some things that we've been doing. So, the first thing that I would share is that the City of Cottonwood won the inaugural Verde Exchange and the Arizona Commerce Authority 2015 Sustainable Economic Growth of the Decade Award last Friday in Tempe. And this is the award that we received. So we want to thank the whole community, our citizens, and the council and our staff that help make these things possible. And to share a little bit about why we won this award, we shared information in our application about our new reclamation plant project, and it's going to be 100% solar and remove pharmaceuticals from the reclaimed stream. It will water our parks, and we're hoping to water an old stand of cottonwood trees that are suffering a little bit because in one of the last floods, the river moved. And we are planning to inject extra water to help benefit our aquifers that our people use, and also the Verde River will benefit also. And it's supposed to have a learning center to help children learn the processes of reclaimed water and how that all works. We added a $300,000 solar system to our beautiful new recreation center, and Verde Exchange really liked that. We also did a $90,000 project at our airport with a grant from the Arizona Commerce Authority. So we have solar there also. We also have reclaimed water available 24/7 for Verde Valley projects and development, and we do not allow the use of potable water in construction. We've done upgrades to our water system, bringing water loss from leaky pipes down from 45% to 11%, and Verde Exchange really thought that was a sustainable process. We have a huge conservation program which has been very successful, allowing us to pump more than 20% and some up to 25 and some even say 30. So out of the aquifer, we pump less than when the water companies were privately owned. When we build or reconstruct a street in our city, we add reclaimed purple pipe or reclaimed lines whenever it's feasible. And we also use reclaimed water to water, we're going to be watering landscaping in Mesquite Hills, and we also have been using reclaimed water in Cottonwood Ranch for quite a few years. And they wanted to know about walkable communities, and of course our Old Town is very walkable, but our planning and zoning departments are looking at walkable communities and encouraging that kind of development. And Rini Radacia's recent project, the Greens, is like that. The businesses are downstairs and the residence is upstairs. Jerome is another good example of that, and we have many more examples. They also, VertiX also gave us the award because of our successful transit program. We provide services, transit services, even though our city is very, very small at under 12,000 people. We collaborate with Sedona on the Verti Links to get people to work, and we collaborate with Clarkdale and Yavapai County and Verti Village to also provide services, and it adds to our quality of life. For our business climate, I talked about the Business Assistance Center and the application room and all of the things that the Business Assistance Center does to incubate businesses. Other pluses for the town are the city's largest employer, Verde Valley Medical Center, and the Verde Valley wine industry. Verde Exchange is a think tank that produces annual green technology and policy event to connect the green dots between the environmental, private, and public sectors. So thank you very much to our staff who do all of these things, and this council really, since I've been mayor, has been absolutely strikingly amazing at the kinds of things that I just talked about. And it's really due to this council and supporting our staff to get these things done that we are the city that we are. So I want to thank each one of you for that. So we wouldn't have received that award without all of us working together. The CAP cadets had a dinner at the VFW, and they have quite a few cadets right now that they're working with. They do meet in the Cottonwood Airport. Why do I always forget that word, Doug?
FOB?
They're meeting at the airport.
Terminal.
Thank you. I don't know why that's so hard for me to remember. The terminal. They are looking for a place. They have a lot of wonderful trophies and such, and they are looking for a place to, hopefully in the airport area, to display their trophies. And I think they display a few of them at the terminal, but they have some more that they would like to do. So I think staff will be discussing those things in the future. String of Pearls met, and we're moving forward. We are planning to bring a presentation to city councils about what we're doing to update you all and the public also, so stay tuned for that. I think it will be somewhere probably the first part of April. I attended the Verde Watershed Restoration Coalition Strategic Planning Workshop, and that was, you know, Friends of the Verde River Greenway, and it's the group that's removing all of the invasive species from the Verde River area, and from private and public properties, and also from the Oak Creek area. And it was just a strategic planning workshop on how to continue with that organization's success. And the vice mayor and I, and who else attended, was someone else at the Verde Valley Senior Center ribbon cutting? The vice mayor was there. But anyway, the Verde Valley Senior Citizen Center had its ribbon cutting for a multi-thousands of dollars solar system project, and this should be very helpful to them because a lot of their budget goes to utilities, and they have just been really struggling to meet the needs for their people they serve for Meals on Wheels and other meals as the prices of food goes up. So hopefully this will be very helpful to them. And how is your utility payment spent? Question mark. We had a tour of the wastewater treatment system last week, and Debbie Bright-Kreitz and Roger Biggs were there with other staff. And we had 5 people attend, and we'll have 2 more chances to tour the wastewater system. But those who attended were just really amazed at the process, and I think it really helped them understand how the utility payment is spent. And hopefully we'll get some good attendance from this. And the next tour is going to be a water tour, and this tour is going to be of well 8 and 9. On March 26th at 10 a.m. This tour is located on South Willard Avenue, about 200 feet north of Mesquite Drive. And we would like to invite Cottonwood residents, Verde Village residents, Verde Santa Fe residents, and any other people that would like to learn where our water comes from when we turn on our faucets, and how all of that works, and where your utility payment goes to ensure that you have water every day coming out of your faucet. I also attended an Arizona Town Hall presentation last Thursday, and the city manager was there, Casey Rooney was there, and it was on how to improve Arizona's economy. And supporting tourism is one way. Education is a huge component that the town hall talked about. Education is economic development, and it's important for that. So that was one of their suggestions. Good, reliable infrastructure. You know, streets and interstates. Our streets really all over the state are really going downhill fast. So that was something that this group of people from all over Arizona with many varied interests suggested. We had the Clarkdale, we had the Verde Valley. We have so many intergovernmental meetings, but we had the Verde Valley intergovernmental meeting in Clarkdale last week, and we had an update from Councilmember Garrison and Councilmember Regner on the Yavapai College District Governing Boards Advisory Committee, and they gave us quite a good update of their work that they're doing, and they're meeting really quite frequently, twice a month.
Twice a month.
And they're really going out to the communities and asking the citizens of the area, the residents of the area, to give them input on what they would like to see our college be and what kinds of courses and classes that they would like to see. So do you have anything to add to that?
We'll be meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Clarkdale campus in, I think, M137 again. So.
Okay, all right. Mayor Van Gasse gave a report on the construction TPT changes, and the TPT changes were requested. Governor Brewer was really adamant that we do this, and I also thought that it was brought up by some of, like the Central Arizona Home Builders and some of them, but many of the contractors are really kind of, I mean, it was supposed to simplify it, and it didn't. It's becoming more difficult. So we'll see how that all turns out. But the legislature, I think, has been working on this, trying to resolve it and get the rules set up. We had a report and discussion of the National Geographic Geotourism Project, which I've reported to council before, and an update on the SciTech Festival. And that's, I want to remind everybody that the SciTech Festival is coming up March 21st through the 29th, and we're having activities all over the Verde Valley. Really fun, exciting stuff to do. And you can find out, you can see a calendar of all the activities on vvscitech.org. So please look that up and look at all the activities and attend as many as you can. The Vice Mayor and I attended the Green Eggs and Ham Breakfast at the Cottonwood Oak Creek School District, as well as many of our firemen and some of our policemen. And I read to two third-grade classes.
I had a third grade and a fifth grade, and I think I was the shortest person in the class with a fifth grade.
You were saying that they usually give you the third graders? Okay.
Yeah, but my granddaughter Jessie Vaca thought it would be a good idea if I read to my granddaughter's class. Marissa wanted me to read to them, so I went to the fifth grade class, and they're pretty nice-sized kids. They eat their Wheaties.
I'm glad you always have a good humor about that.
Well, if anybody ever wanted to just get with a school beginning of February, it's so much fun to be in those classrooms and watch the rallies in the cafeteria and watch the kids interact with our staff, our police officers and our firefighters and you and I. It's just really a blast. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
And reading to the kids is fun too.
And then they also got to put a pie in the face of the principal.
Yeah, Mr. Kepi's a good sport.
He was a very good sport. So I also spoke to the women of the Moose last night about organizations, and I want to remind everyone that March a Mile for Meals will take place on March 28th at the Verde Valley Senior Center, and hopefully council members and members of the public can come and support the Senior Center. And that's my report to the council and public for today. The next item, and I guess I kind of already covered this, inaugural Verde Exchange and the Arizona Commerce Authority 2015 Sustainable Economic Growth City of the Decade, won by the city of Cottonwood. Okay, call to the public. This portion of the agenda is set aside for the public to address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda for discussion. However, the council cannot engage in discussion regarding any item that is not officially listed on the agenda for discussion and/or action. Comments are limited to a 5-minute time period. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak about an item that's not on tonight's agenda? If not, we'll close the floor to the public and move on to approval of minutes. These minutes are the work session of February 10th, 2015, regular meeting of February 15th, 2015, and the special meeting of February 24th, 2015. I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of the work session of February 10th, 2015, regular meeting of February 15th, 2015, and special meeting of February 24th, 2015.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Pratt made the motion and Mr. Elinsky seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, comments regarding items listed on the agenda are limited to a 5-minute time period per speaker. Item number 8 is consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item number 1 is renewal of contract with Heinfeld, Meach & Company for professional auditing services for the City of Cottonwood's financial statements. Item number 2 is award of bid for solid waste removal services for city facilities. Item number 3 is new liquor license application for Christopher L. Dabrowski. And I didn't say that right, I'm sorry. Can anybody help me with that?
I think that's pretty close.
Okay. Applicant for Schoolhouse Restaurant located at 702 North Main Street. Item number 4 is renewal of contract with Reese & Sons Tire and Automotive, Inc. for city vehicle maintenance and repair services. Does any member of the council wish to pull an item for discussion from the consent? Does any member of the public wish to pull? Oh, yes, Mr.
I'd like to pull
Garrison?
number 4.
Number 4, okay. Does anyone from the public wish to pull an item for discussion on the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion for numbers 1 through 3.
I move we approve 1 through 3 on the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, the vice mayor made the motion, and I think Mr. Pratt was first for seconding it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 4, Mr. Garrison.
I pulled this because I hated to see Mr. Dixon get all cleaned up and come down here and not get a chance to stand up and represent himself and introduce himself and his company to us. So that's why
Mr.
I pulled
Dixon,
that.
please come up to the podium and speak.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and Mayor and Council. I'm from Reese's Tire, and I thank you for allowing me to talk. I just wanted a couple minutes to just say really appreciate the service. We were actually working with Rudy and the rest of the people, you know, the last 2 or 3 years. It's been a learning experience for both sides, I think, and we're still growing and learning, and we've actually added a couple of bays and some equipment to service the buses, because that was a concern to how we're going to make them safe and get them up in there and that type of thing. But everything's been going pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, and I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but we're striving for perfect. And so we're continuing working on that. And basically, I brought my whole crew with me that works in the front office back here. Just because they haven't been at a city council meeting, I don't think any of them have been to one. So I said, Tuesday nights is our meeting night at our shop. Every Tuesday we have meetings with the managers and stuff. So we figured we'd bring the meeting down here. They thought we were going to the tavern or somewhere.
How little did they know, huh? So would you like to invite them all to come up?
Yeah, Roger, Ron, and Brad.
Be recognized?
They work with all the different departments and stuff with the city, so they're all each involved in making sure the emails are going out and we're following up on things. And one thing I did, I pulled a statistic on tires. Just the tires on the police cars, we saw that this last year in 2014, we saved exactly right at $6,000 was a saving to the city, because we were able to run that under a government support. So it's all those tires the government actually puts the price on them. We were able to use that, and even on the transportation bus, I just pulled the police car tires because they use a lot of them, and it saved actually $6,000 this year over budget for them. And the first,
wonderful.
This last year, I'm not sure the other two. So
that's great.
But this is Roger's the manager, and Ron's assistant manager, and Brad's operational manager. So,
well, thank you.
I just really wanted to let Neil and his group introduce themselves. It's really nice having this business is on their 3rd generation of serving this community, and that's really neat that they've been able to do such a great job, and the community is working with them, and the city is doing business with them, and I appreciate us keeping things local, and so I appreciate you doing the job you're doing for the city.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight and for your consistent hard work for the citizens of Cottonwood and the Verde Valley. And I think, Jim, are you here for this item tonight? Are you here for this particular item? Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please. Jim Wixom.
Jim Wixom, Public Works Utility Maintenance Specialist. Council, Mrs. Mayor. I've been working with Neil and his staff for the last 3 years, and they've done a good job. There's some areas there that we still got to work on, but the most part, they've done great for the city of Cottonwood, and I'm sure they'll do great the next year or two, as long as I got the contract.
All right.
I just want to thank Neil and his staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number.
I'll move to.
Sorry about that.
I'll move to renew the contract with Reese and Sons Tire for 1 year.
Second.
So Mr. Garrison made the motion and the Vice Mayor seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for being here, gentlemen. Okay, so item number 9 is new business. The following items are for council discussion, consideration, and possible legal action. And I would like to move item number 7 up because we have some young people here tonight that have studies that they could be doing, and so we want to get them home so they can get their homework done. So this is ordinance number 611, amending Title 8, Health and Safety of the Municipal Code by adding a new Chapter 8.68, designated areas for use of tobacco products at city parks, and this would be the first reading.
That's the sheet in the packet. Says page 272. It's 272 on the sheet. 132 on the back.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, thanks for having me here tonight. Ryan Bigelow, Recreation Services Supervisor. We are going to take a look at our designated smoking areas.
Page 272.
Just a reminder of where we've been with this. December 9th, it was our pleasure to host the Yavapai Anti-Tobacco Coalition of Youth. Miss Amanda Lang and her group of kids gave you guys a presentation and kind of went over some of the pros and cons of being able to reduce or remove tobacco from our parks. They requested that we either take a look at banning tobacco entirely from our city parks, or that we establish designated smoking areas to help with litter and things of that nature, not allowing the kids to pick up the butts and re-smoke them, things like that. So when we discussed on December 9th was to not entirely go with the complete ban. Thought that might be a little bit extensive at this point, but to look at the designated smoking area. So that's what we discussed on December 9th. So staff looked at cigarette butt receptacles, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever taken a look at those, but there's literally hundreds of options for cigarette butt receptacles. So we wanted to kind of show you guys what we were thinking as far as criteria for selecting those. We looked at making them weatherproof, fire safe, not open to the air, the ability to be mobile or tie down or anchor down. Obviously we want to be cost effective, as aesthetically pleasing as we can make them, and also manageable for staff to maintain and empty, since they would be responsible for that. You know, one of the other items is not open to air, because we didn't necessarily want people to be able to come by, pick them up, and re-smoke them is one of the issues. So those were the considerations when we looked at those. Aesthetically pleasing is pretty subjective, but we were looking at either the one on the left as kind of the primary option there that fit all the criteria. Wanted to show there are other options out there, but the one on the left there was the copper color. I don't know if you can see that is a copper in color, but that's what we were looking at for our options. We discussed the different parks that we have in town. The Cottonwood Kids Park, Garrison Park, Lions Park, the Old Town Activity Park, of course Riverfront Park, and then Viejo Park as well, or Elm Park, off Elm there. So those would be the park locations that we were looking at. Obviously they're very varying parks. Some would maybe need 1 or 2 locations. The bigger parks maybe need 3 or 4 locations. So that's what we're kind of here to discuss tonight, and maybe give staff some direction on those. I wanted to show some pictures of the parks, just to kind of give some perspective on what we're looking at here. When you're considering where to put these designated smoking areas, some things to consider: not too close to the main entrances, not too close to the Ramada areas, essentially not where we can expect the general public to congregate and be around. We don't want to create a designated smoking area right where everybody's going to be. So this is a photo of the main entrance there. Hopefully giving us the mobility and the flexibility to move these places around. We would be able to kind of designate, locate different areas that would be best for not just for staff but for the public too. That's what we're doing this for. So to be visible, be seen, but yet not be right in everybody's way. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to find those types of spots. Wanted to show you the 12th Street side of the kids park, because the kids park is one of the bigger parks that we have, seeing that it would probably need a couple various locations. This would be the 12th Street side. Being able to either tie it down, use a chain to be able to attach it to a fence post or something. When we looked at Kingman's study, they said that vandalism is an issue. Of course, if we leave anything out there, vandalism and or theft could be an issue, so we would want to make sure and be able to tie those down. But somewhere in this general vicinity here. I got a picture of Garrison Park here. Hoping to be able to use some of the existing signs signage areas, so we wouldn't have to recreate the wheel here and just post signs where we have posts already available, and or to be able to tie those down. There's a sign there in the middle. I'm not sure if you can see it, it's blocked off there, but that might be a place where we could actually put something down where the sign location already exists.
So I'm trying to figure out where you were when you took that picture.
This is Google Earth.
Oh, okay. I was like, were you over at Cottonwood Village, or where were you?
This is actually a Google Earth photo.
Gotcha.
You'll actually see some a Nissan Altima in a lot of those photos because those are actually the ones that I took. But,
okay.
This one was taken from Google Earth.
Gotcha.
Of course, there's going to be some changes, I think, upcoming with the restroom facilities there and whatnot. We would be able to look at wherever those are recreated, possibly putting something over or near something like that. Lions Park has a sign already up. There's sign poles already up that we would be able to use underneath the actual Lions Park sign. Staff was thinking might be a good location for something like that. Put some additional signage up, put a receptacle up. The Old Town Activity Park, something next to the well house there on the end. Of course, that's where we host our farmers markets. We wouldn't want to put it right in the middle of the farmers market or anywhere where there's a main entrance. So somewhere off to the side next to the well house. Riverfront Park is a little more extensive. There's various areas of Riverfront Park to look at. The adult softball complex, there's a youth baseball and softball complex, dog park, the new play area, the Ramada and play area, and also there's a disc golf course. So have to consider all of those areas when we're looking at this. Did a bigger screenshot there of Riverfront Park. I know from experience that probably the adult softball complex is going to need several different locations. Looked at possibly doing something, 3 different entrances there, so 3 different areas there, next to the skate park and then also over next to the Ramada area. Also considering that next to the Ramadas we wouldn't want to put anything too close to the playground equipment over there. Fine balance of being visible and being available and also not in everybody's way. Wanted to show you that the signage already existing at the youth complex. No alcohol, no smoking, and no tobacco in that facility. So we've already got some existing signage there. I would assume that we would continue to use that and keep that a tobacco-free facility. The dog park could definitely be up for consideration. That's something that we have some existing areas that we could include for some signage. Also include for a designated smoking area there. One of the thoughts was we could combine between the dog park and the youth complex and maybe make something in between, but that might be difficult too to actually get anybody to utilize that. So. Hopefully we'd be able to use some existing areas for signage there at the dog park. Wanted to show that the disc golf course actually already has a cigarette butt receptacle. And it's not designated for no smoking, but it does have an existing receptacle there. And then there's the Viejo Park, where we would be able to use some, again, existing signage and post. And create an area for smoking. Just provide a brief example of what maybe some of the signage would look like, designated smoking areas. Of course, if this goes to an ordinance, we'd post an ordinance number on there, and we'd also have some additional signage for no smoking in the parks. Put together some brief numbers for approximately what this might be costing. Cigarette butt receptacles around $4,000, signage around $450,000, and approximately, all in all, about $4,450. This is not, at this point in time, in the 2014-2015 budget. So this would be something that we would have to decide what budget, if this would come out of discretionary funding from the council, or if this would be something that we would budget for the next fiscal year. That's all I have. I was really just hoping to get some recommendations from the council, or if we can get you guys to let us know what your thoughts are on where these locations should be, what types of receptacles we might want to use, and maybe if we have any additional thoughts from the group here.
Okay, so if you'd like to turn on the lights, please, Mr. Biggs. So, council, do you want to hear from the youth group before you make comments, or?
I'd like to make a quick comment.
Okay, Mr. Pratt, sorry.
Yeah, I think you guys have done a really good job on this. I've seen these receptacles used at a number of other places, and they seem to be the most practical. I think the price is a small price to pay for the welfare of our community, so they're not exposed to a nuisance, and to help keep our parks clean. Because one of the biggest nuisances you see is cigarette butts all over the place, and they never decompose. So I think you guys have done a great job on this, and I commend you young people for stepping forward and leading the charge on this. It's a good thing.
So if Ms. Lange, is it Lange? Lang? If Ms. Lang and her students would like to come up and make any comments on this item?
Hi, thank you so much. We'll just do an abbreviated version of what we presented to you last time, December 9th, so thank you again for allowing us to be here and for considering our request. I'm Amanda Lang with Yavapai County Community Health Services. I'm also the adult coordinator for Yahtzee. And STAND, we'll have on STAND t-shirts. That stands for Students Taking a New Direction. So there are actually groups like this all over Arizona who are combating nicotine addiction and trying to change things for the future. So I will just now leave it to your future leaders and the officers actually of Yahtzee. Amy Cervantes, Sophia Rocha, Lori Perez, and Ely Aviman.
Hello. Well, I'm here tonight because I actually really want to make a difference in our community. We know from picking up cigarette butts that is becoming a really big problem, especially with kids nowadays. So, we're trying to combat smoking. And we've actually did some investigating, and we found out that it takes at least 5 to 10 years for a cigarette butt to decompose, and it's really hurting all the young kids and all the animals in our parks.
Thank you.
I am here because I want to help make tobacco use in society unacceptable for our generations and for future generations. What we see a lot in society becomes acceptable, and if we ban tobacco in parks, it might make people quit smoking or never start smoking.
Thank you very much.
I am here because I know the younger a person is, then the harder it is. The younger a person is when they start, the harder it is to stop. So I want to change the environment we live and play in.
Thank you.
I am here to finally make a change in our generations and possibly other generations. And I would like to say thank you for you guys for listening to us and helping us out on this to make us a better generation.
Thank you very much. We're very proud of you and being active and working in your community like this and being very brave. And you are future leaders, and I think our country with leaders like you is going to be in very good hands. Chief, did you have anything that you wanted to add? I think last time you spoke, I don't recall for sure, but...
No, Madam Mayor, other than to just say I fully, completely support what these kids are trying to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else from the audience like to speak tonight, the public? If not, any more comments from the council?
I had some, you started off the presentation saying, you didn't want to put the designated areas near the entrances, but that picture we were just looking at, all the designated smoking
For Riverfront Park specifically?
Yeah, they were all at entrances. I mean, you can't smoke within 20 feet of a business entrance. I would think we would follow the same guidelines with our parks as well.
My thought there was for Riverfront Park specifically, where they congregate is next to the stands and to the snack shack area, so which more to the center of it. There's not as much congregating when they're walking through, but absolutely, if I'll up for recommendations or suggestions on that.
It just, I mean, the only way to get in and out of the facility is going to be to walk through smokers, and to me, that's not really a good thing.
Okay.
Also, I really hate seeing the designated area in front of the skate park. That's definitely a group you don't want to target as smoking, and to send those kids through smokers to get into their own recreational facility would be, to me, that's.
Do we really need one at the skate park? I mean, do we really need one at the skate park?
I would, if anything, I would think you'd want it over at the hockey rink where you actually have an adult clientele.
The actual skate park is for kids. It doesn't seem like it needs one.
So that was my only comment. It just seemed like we were congregating all the designated zones right where you have to use to get in and out of the facility. I understand moving it away from the center quad area, and that's great. You know, the hospital makes the employees leave the property.
Sure.
You know, they go all the way out onto Willard Avenue, and I don't have a problem with that at all. I just don't like that you're attacking the entrance zones. If we could move those off to the side or something, that'd be all the better as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. That shouldn't be a problem.
I guess one way to verify the 2 points, if you go and we find a whole lot of cigarette butts down at the skate park, then it may be a null issue. And, you know, so if they're there, they're there. I don't know when you guys were out picking them up. If you found a lot right there, that might be the reason they placed it, was because they found them.
You found them at the skate park, the children's skate park?
So we'd rather not have them smoking, but if they are anyway, we like.
I just assumed that they wouldn't be at that
and then
age.
there is an innate thing in human nature where you see it whenever people put in sidewalks and paths, and then you see the natural sidewalk and the natural path that people will take as a shortcut. It's human nature. That's the way it works. You don't want to go the long way around. There's a fine balance that's going to take place here between the placement of those facilities at natural access points and at artificial or forced access points, which could lead people to actually just ignore them altogether and flip it on the ground because they don't want to walk 20 feet over. So there's going to be a fine line, and we'll have to kind of look at, you know, the main thing to look at is what's there. If you walk out to that corner and you see the cigarette butts are all 20 feet over, well, put it where the butts are. If they're all right there at that corner, then put some spikes on the ground so people don't stand there. But that's just, you got to make it difficult for human nature, and that's the way it works. But I think that'd be the 2 points, just to sort of follow up to Randy's concerns, that if you don't make it easy to use, people won't use it. So it's kind of unfortunate, but that's life.
That was the kind of the thought process in making them mobile, knowing that, you know, we might have some public opinion on, as far as the locations of them, and that might need to be adjusted as we move forward.
So we just mount them on dollies.
There you go.
And then we could play like the yakety sax music in the background and have them chase you around or something.
But you could place them 25 feet away from where people enter the park and have signage where they enter with an arrow. And, you know, anybody who has any authority when they're down there can always remind people, it's only 25 feet away, folks.
And if your proposal doesn't work, it can be adjusted.
Yeah.
And you'll learn as you go along what works, and so you'll have hopefully some flexibility.
I think it's a well thought out plan. I think you should go forward with it.
Okay, any other comments from members of the public on this item? If not, Mr. Bielinski?
I just wanted to chime in and just, you know, I think signage is, you know, one of the more important things you can do, just to make sure it's consistent and visible from a great distance, so people will be trained to recognize the sign where the designated smoking area is. And I would certainly hope we could get it done sooner than next budget year. I don't think it's a lot of money. I would hope we could scrape up the pennies or even look for donations from somewhere to make this happen. but certainly as one member of council, I would support doing it this year.
And we have about, I think, $11,000 this year. It's about almost a third of what we normally have, but is that something the council would want to
Definitely.
use those funds for?
I would say move forward with it as
I
soon
agree.
as possible.
Okay.
There may be an opportunity, too, to get other businesses to sponsor the Verde Valley Medical Center. I'm sure they get hit up all the time, but there may be other opportunities where the council wouldn't have to shell up all the money, but we'd be shelling it up on behalf of the citizens, so I think it's a worthy cause.
So are you suggesting that staff ask the Verde Valley Medical Center to provide, if they would like to provide some of the, and then what would we do? Put their name on them or something like that? Is to give them?
Yeah, you could put their name out, or
I don't know.
PSA.
I don't know how complicated you want to make it. I just think that there might be businesses or private donors out there that might be willing to shell out a couple $100, and that would help get them on the ground sooner.
So what is staff's thought? I know that you guys are like way past busy doing double jobs.
No, asking for private donation I don't think is beyond what we can do, and we would definitely be able to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to guarantee they're going to say yes, but we can ask.
No, that's true. But that really would be a great project for the hospital if they wanted to participate a little bit in it.
They'll get some of their own, and we can get them in bulk.
There might be, Spectrum might be willing to participate also.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Maybe some other health-oriented organizations. Okay, so do I hear a motion?
There's no motion, it's a first reading.
Oh, hang on just a second. Let me get back to my agenda.
We're supposed to give them direction.
Okay, so direction is, I hear the council saying that they like the idea of doing this. They're okay. Most of them are okay with your points of points of access, and those can be flexible. And they would, direction is to find out from the community if they would like to support this, and the council at the next reading would be able to tell you whether they're going to spend their money or not.
And Madam Mayor, another bit of direction I think staff would like is whether the council would like this designated a violation to be a civil or criminal offense, and if criminal, what the maximum fine might be. So for the second reading of the ordinance.
Okay, any comments on that?
Should be a
Civil.
Fine, yeah.
What else do you need to know?
Would the council like to set a maximum or a presumptive fine for violations should anybody require
The
a
first
citation?
time a warning.
Yeah, first time a warning, second time a fine. What's a typical fine for a civil violation along the same lines as this?
Like littering.
This is typically the court, but in my experience, you're looking at probably about a $50 fine if it's a second offense, and then like our alarm ordinances and stuff, you can escalate it, for a third or fourth offense. But I would say $50 is probably about all the higher you want to go. 25 may even be more reasonable.
I think 25.
Mayor, council members, I would recommend a maximum amount, like $250 or something like that. The judge can always go much lower. But if we get somebody who's a repeat offender, it gives the judge the ability to go up.
Okay, so we would really, I think we would really like the first time to be a low amount.
First time a warning.
Warning.
Second time.
You're right, the first time a warning, second time a low amount.
And again,
and then up to 250?
I think that...
Just leave it at 250.
Yeah, you've got to leave the judge that discretion.
Okay.
And
code enforcement, or the police, the discretion whether or not. We don't anticipate a lot of harsh enforcement. We don't anticipate the need to do that, but we need for the legislation, we need a cap.
Okay.
Is
that okay with the council, the 250 cap?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and certainly the officers would warn somebody the first time, but if somebody ignores them after they warn them, we don't you know, I think even hamstringing the officers with a warning required initially is probably not a good direction to go.
So just 250, and it's up to the officer and the circumstances, which...
And the judge.
And the judge.
In terms of the penalty.
Madam Mayor, I will be directing my staff, as you said, first warn, educate, as we've done with our other ordinances. Let's educate, warn them, and then if they blatantly disregard our education and our warnings, then escalate the enforcement up to and including we would trespass them from the park, which then carries a more damaging thing if they're not going to abide by your direction and your laws.
That'd be for repeat offenders.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Okay, have you got the direction? All right. So, Deputy Clerk, please read ordinance number 611, first reading by title only.
Ordinance number 611, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending Title 8, Health and Safety of the Municipal Code by adding a new chapter 8.68, designated areas for use of tobacco products at city parks. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor?
The smiles on those faces out there when he was reading it were priceless. Thank you, kids.
Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.
All right. Item number 1 is presentation and acceptance of the city's comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, Mayor and Council. Today I'd like to introduce Michael Luzon. Close enough. He's one of our CPAs with Heinfeld Meats to make the presentation of the annual CAFR for the period ending June 30th, 2014. Wanted to also mention before he begins his presentation that the CAFR is currently posted as all of our financials. We have about 10 years worth of records on our website. They are available on the cottonwoodaz.gov website under the Financial Transparency page. And with that being said, Michael will go ahead and present the CAFR for the fiscal year ending 2014.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you to the mayor and the council for allowing us the opportunity to come and present. We don't always get to present all the hard work that goes into this, but we thank you for the opportunity. Special thanks to Rudy and Kirsten and all of the finance office for all their hard work. Our responsibility is 2 pages of this 200-page report, and the rest of it is all their hard work. So we really appreciate the time. We come in, interrupt their lives for 2 weeks, pulling documents and testing a lot of different things, asking questions, and they're always very courteous to us and kind, even though we're disrupting their lives. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started into the audit report. If there are questions, just please interrupt me. It's better that way. All right, so the city basically receives a few different types of audits from our firm. So we have our financial audit, which is just kind of reviewing your financials and making sure that they're correct. We have your single audit, which is you receive over $500,000 in federal funds, so you're required by the federal government to have another level of audit. And then we also do reviews for your HERF funds and for your expenditure limitation report. The good news is that the city received an unmodified opinion, which is our highest opinion that we can give on both your financial statements and compliance with the federal requirements. And so basically this means is that your financial statements are materially correct. We can't give an opinion on internal controls. I can't tell you your controls are operating 100% effectively, but I can tell you that your financial statements are materially correct. And in the same regards, I can tell you that the city is materially following the compliance requirements of the federal government over the grants you receive. So that's great. It's good news. I just want to kind of highlight a few things for the financial report. Looking at your different funds, the general fund, which is the main operating fund of the city, the difference between revenues and expenditures was only $100,000. So, which is a good thing to see that that fund is maintaining a good consistency. It's not accumulating a lot of resources, but it's also not spending down all of the resources. One of the funds that did have a large decrease was the Capital Projects Fund. That fund balance went down by about $2 million, which was kind of expected because there's a lot of projects that are going on with the city, and you're kind of spending some of those capital project funds down. The water and sewer funds experienced a combined increase of about $1 million in their net position, or their ending balance that can be carried over to the next year, and that was kind of expected. The city has raised some of the rates in the last few years in order to meet some of the ratios. One of the requirements by one of the, for your loans, for your bonds for the water and sewer, is that you have to maintain 1.3 times coverage of the revenues to the debt payments, and you're actually at 1.4 for the audit that ended June 30th, 14, which is a really good improvement. I was here 2 years ago presenting on that, and you were below the threshold, below the requirements, and now you've gone above that 1.35 threshold, which is a good thing to see. It's a good step in the right direction, I guess. The other thing we wanted to kind of just review a little bit was your single audit report, and the city received and expended about $1.4 million in federal funds. The primary grants that the city gets are involved in transportation, so running the bus system, all those funds that come in, and that was about almost $1 million of those types of funds came in, and that's what we reviewed and tested, and we found that it was monitored and spent appropriately with the requirements. We did note a few opportunities for the city to improve on internal controls, and we documented those in the single audit section. Mainly has to do with the new financial system that was put into place and just making sure that's being set up correctly and all the accounts are being reconciled appropriately at the end of the year. And then also with capital assets, just making sure the inventory is done at least every 2 to 3 years. And that's been an issue, I think, for previous years, but I think there's actually a really good plan in place right now to address that. The last thing I wanted to bring up was next year you're going to kind of see a difference in your financial statements. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board has released a new standard called number 68, and this requires that the city picks up the pension portions from the Arizona State Retirement System and the Public Safety Retirement System and presents those liabilities on your books. So basically this is going to add probably several $1 million of liabilities to your books. So you're going to kind of see an increase in liabilities and a decrease in your net position or your carryover funds. And I talked with Rudy about this, and he is aware of the requirement, and he actually, I think, has a work session scheduled in a couple weeks to kind of go over this with the council and present different options to you. That's kind of the report I have. I don't know if there are any questions.
Are there questions from the materials that were available to council and the public?
There's a lot to read.
Yeah, there's a lot of documentation that goes into basically just saying that it's correct.
Right.
So, but unfortunately, that's what we're required to show.
Yeah, I read through it very quickly, and it seems very comprehensive.
The comprehensive annual financial report, the CAFR. Yeah.
Not always really exciting, though.
I actually have slobber on my iPad.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sleep aid if you ever need to fall asleep at night.
Any other questions or comments from members of the public on the CAFR? Mr. Pratt?
It's time for a motion.
Please.
I move to accept the city's comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014.
Second.
Mr. Pratt made the motion. Mr. Elinsky seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 2 is award of bid for trenchless spot repair service for the wastewater collection system. Mr. Biggs.
Madam Mayor, Council, good evening. I ask the Council award a bid for trenchless sewer line spot repair. to Hoffman Southwest Corporation, Professional Pipe Services. This bid is the result of a program that was started back in 2008 where we had the sewer lines cleaned, videotaped, and surveyed. We came up with a list of problem areas and repairs that needed to be made. That resulted in a request for bids, and Hoffman Southwest was the winner of that bid. It's a 3-year program. There's a bid and there's an alternate bid. The alternative is what staff recommends. It's a slightly different method of repairing. Instead of a lot of little repairs, it's a couple of longer ones. Saves the contractor some labor and saves the city some money. We estimate it's a 3-year program. They'll come up here several times over those 3 years and make a series of repairs. Any questions?
Questions?
Pretty cut and dry.
Any comments from members of the public? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the bid for trenchless sewer main spot repair to Hoffman Southwest Corporation in the amount of $102,530.
Second.
So, including the pricing for bid items 23 and 67.
Okay, so Mr. Ulinski made the motion and Mr. Dowling seconded it.
No, it's me and Randy, I think, both went.
Did you do it at the same time?
No, I did not.
Okay,
Just
I didn't hear you, so this ear must be.
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Biggs.
Thank you.
Item number 3 is reclassification of the wastewater superintendent position from range 22 to range 26.
Once again, Madam Mayor, Council, good evening. I'm asking for council direction tonight regarding this reclassification of the wastewater superintendent's position. It's currently at a grade 22 salary, and I think it needs to achieve parity with the water operations manager. They're basically mirror images of each other. There's a lot of responsibilities for each position, staff accountability. The wastewater superintendent is responsible for the city's compliance programs, water samples. There's a good deal of training for both sides. This position teaches the water side how to do water sampling, teaches the wastewater side how to do water sampling. This position is responsible for all the compliance paperwork that keeps us in compliance with the state and federal authorities. There's also some future responsibilities coming down the line: wastewater management, reclaimed distribution system, and by bringing this position up to a grade 26, it would open this position for the additional responsibilities. In addition, I would like to see both these positions retitled as wastewater operations superintendent and water operations superintendent. It would clarify some of the command structure confusion that we've had in the past, and improve communications, reduce confusion, hopefully improve efficiencies. Any questions?
Council? Mr. Pratt?
Yeah, when they did you said during the compensation study that the wastewater superintendent was, the recommendation was to have it at a range 26. So basically, we're just going along with the compensation study that we complied with on every other position in the city that was
Yes, sir.
Okay. Reclassified.
Mr. Ulinski?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Any members of the public? Would you like to speak on this item? I feel that it's very appropriate, and when you look at the job description and the items that you've provided to us, it seems like a very fair, good idea to make this change.
And I will see that it gets on this year's budget.
Good.
So, Mr. Pratt?
I move to reclassify the wastewater superintendent position to salary range 26, to retitle that position to wastewater operations superintendent, and to retitle the position of water operations manager to Water Operations Superintendent.
Second.
Mr. Pratt made the motion, the Vice Mayor seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 4, resolution number 2787, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Arizona, Department of Transportation to define access management on State Route 260 at the roundabouts intersections which are within the city limits near Thousand Trails Road and Corey Drive. Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item has been before the council before, and actually nothing has changed as far as the road goes. It's still going to be 7 roundabouts between I-17 and the city of Cottonwood. This will also replace the traffic light that's currently at Cherry Road. So a total of 7 roundabouts. Right now, 10 planned right turn only exits that come out, with the possibility of more in the future, but that'll be as development's grown. 2 of those roundabouts, although they may be built today, they won't be at existing roads. So this is for future frontage roads, and the idea is you're not going to have everybody taking access wherever they want. It's going to be a little bit more planned, a little bit more thought out. So again, nothing's actually changed as far as the road goes from the last time this is in front of the council. The only thing that did change, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, is ADOT added one phrase which basically gave them the right to back out should funding fall out, and we felt comfortable with that. So staff's recommendation is that we approve this. ADOT has about 66 to 67 million currently allocated towards this project. There was a design meeting last week among all the stakeholders over in Prescott, and the design is moving forward.
Awesome. Very exciting.
Seems to be a no-brainer here.
I did want to point out the map, and I really, if I can get to it.
Apologize for the poor quality of the map.
I have to find it on, that's the most difficult part of anything here. I like the map that, it won't let me, oh it is, it's slow, but showing the multi-modal path is being investigated, it says, parallel to the new main line for pedestrian and bicycle use, and this is over toward Camp Verde, and then more over here toward Cottonwood, it says new multi the most wonderful thing to have that trail access. And our resolution does also mention what council has been very adamant about is the bicycle issue and doing our best to ensure that bicycle accommodations are made during this work. So thank you for keeping that in the forefront for us. Any questions, council, on this item? And we say roundabouts, so we're kind of talking more about oval abouts, or has that changed again?
It hasn't changed. Yes, a little bit bigger radius of a roundabout. Basically they're made for trucks to get in and out a little bit faster, but they are still roundabouts. So they'll only be slightly different. Most people, to be honest, probably won't notice the difference other than you'll be able to accelerate out of them a little bit faster.
Okay. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this item? Any more comments from the council? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 2787, which approves the intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for the access management plan on State Route 260 and requests that ADOT consider bicycle safety and facilities between Cottonwood and Camp Verde during the design and construction of the project.
Second. You guys were, who's giving it up?
I'll give it up.
Okay. Councilmember Pratt made the motion. Councilmember Elinsky seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Deputy Clerk, please read resolution number 2787 by title only.
Resolution number 2787, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Cottonwood, Arizona, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona, Department of Transportation, ADOT, to define access management on State Route 260 at the roundabout intersections, which are within the city limits near Thousand Trails Road and Corey Drive. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 5, ordinance number 609, amending Title 5, Business Taxes, Licenses, and Regulations of the Cottonwood Municipal Code by deleting Chapter 5.17, Street Vendors, in its entirety, and adding a new Chapter 5.17, Mobile Food Vendors, and this would be the first reading.
Madam Mayor, council members, Mr. Luter's not here tonight, so I'll do my best to cover this with the assistance of the city attorney. But I know the council has seen and discussed this a couple of different times now, and we're bringing it back at this point for the first reading, hoping that the council is comfortable with this ordinance. We've tried to make it as simple as possible, try and streamline the approval process as quickly as we can with a one-stop shop at administrative services to get approval for either their business registration, pay their fees. If they need a right-of-way permit, that can also be taken care of through administrative services. There is a charge for that as well of $40 for the right-of-way permit, and however, we're anticipating that we won't get a lot of those. People wanting to park in city right-of-way to get things done. So with that, I'd open it up to any questions, any more suggestions?
Mr. Pratt?
Yeah, I think we really discussed this pretty extensively on a couple of occasions, and
Well, more like 4 or 5, I think.
and did give a lot of direction to the city, and I think they implemented all of our suggestions into the ordinance on the municipal code, and it just looks good to me. And again, I guess this is just the first reading of the ordinance, right?
Correct. Mr. Elinsky.
I really appreciate staff's work on this, and I know we went back and forth on it, time and again. And I think, like a lot of our ordinances, it will be something that we may want to tweak as it is used. And we don't really know what to expect right now from this food ordinance, the food vendor ordinance. But I do hope it allows the opportunity for food vendors to come to Cottonwood. So we've had opportunities in the past that have passed us by. And I think it would be a good thing for Cottonwood, and especially for some of the larger events that we have here in the city. And if it needs changed after it's put in place, if restaurateurs are dissatisfied with the results, then I would hope that we could come back and tweak it as necessary. But I'm very comfortable with what we've got now, and I'm looking forward to seeing it take effect.
And it will even help some of our local restaurants. They will be able to create a mobile vendor business and to add to their business. So it could benefit them very easily also.
And I hope, as the research that I've looked at indicates, that it creates a livelier street scene so that all businesses benefit from having mobile food vendors in place. So I think it'd be a benefit for all.
Mr. Garrison?
I just want to commend staff. We've been over this numerous times, and from where we started to where we're at now, this is, we asked to keep it very concise, very easy to understand, very easy to follow, and I think you did a great job of doing that. So I really appreciate the work you put into making it easy for the citizens.
And I think the shorter, the better. It's working well.
Yeah, it's had quite a few revisions, but you guys were active participants in hearing the council and cutting it down and going back and reading. And
Madam Mayor and Council, I think Mr. Luter deserves the lion's share of the credit for this, for the record.
He eliminated a lot of ambiguity.
And I think, staff has heard council that we're going to be looking at trying to do this approach with as many of our ordinances as possible, as trying to make them as simple as possible.
Help our citizens and residents and business people simplify the understanding, and if you don't need a rule, don't have one.
So we try and keep it out of the city attorney's hands as much as possible.
Yes.
Works for me.
Actually, the code phrases, which violates the very thing it says to do, is eschew obfuscation. At least people scratching their heads.
Well, I think our city attorney's been quite cooperative with staff in getting it cut down.
It's been a good team effort.
It has been, right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Please come up. And did you fill out a form by any chance?
No, I didn't.
If you could fill one out later so that we can get the correct spelling of your name. But go right ahead.
My name's Heather Hamilton, and I just came back to the Valley. They kicked me out in 1984 after I graduated. I don't know what that was about, but anyway, I just came back, and the reason that I came to the council meeting today was the food vendors, because I have a food truck. I was in the city of Phoenix, Chandler, Gilbert for the past 18 years with restaurants, and when I brought my business license in the other day for my food truck that I have, it was given back to me. And they said, we don't really know what we're doing. So I love the fact that all of you guys are here working on this, and I know that you've been working hard. I just don't know where I need to go from here. I, put in a business license, it was given back. So I'm sitting here with a food truck that I can't really operate. So when you guys were talking about having the ordinances and stuff written down, do you know where I can go get that?
Yeah, technically, the ordinance hasn't been approved yet.
Are we going to do that right now?
Well, it's the first reading.
Darn it!
It'll actually be approved.
The first reading, yeah, and then it goes for a second reading, in the next meeting?
On the 17th, and then
it's 30 days.
30 days after.
Do you guys meet every month?
Three times a month.
3 times.
But only 2 officially. One is a work session.
But
so
I think we've got the intention of the council.
Right.
And that's probably the man you need to talk to right there who can walk you through the process, and we can probably get you.
I love that you guys are working on this, because it's the food vendors and mobile vendors. It'd be amazing, because Cottonwood was in, Good Housekeeping, my mom pointed out to me. Like, really? So anyway, it would be very nice, and I just need to know where I need to go, because I don't have a business license to operate.
So, yeah, we're working on that, and I guess I would say the city manager knows what the intent of the council is. I think we've been talking about it for a year now, and I'm not sure what legally, maybe our attorney can advise us, but the intent is to move forward, so.
We will take that as your direction, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah, that's terrific. I like that. But as far as somebody like me, how long before I can operate? That's kind of my concern. So if you can, again, I need to talk with you.
Yeah.
Is that? Okay.
I think we've got the intent of the council and where the council's going with this. And
we have the form too, right? We approved the form in a prior meeting.
And actually, according to the ordinance, if you have a business license from another location in Arizona, then
yeah, they're not transferable from Phoenix
right.
because of the health department thing. It has to come from Yavapai County. Right. So anyway, yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you, and I do appreciate, because like I said, I just came back, and
I
appreciate
welcome
the work that you guys have been doing. What's that?
What's the name on your truck?
I was going to call it Morning Sunshine.
Call it what?
Good Morning Sunshine.
Good Morning Sunshine.
Because that always
brightens up my day.
Always would upset people, because they're all tired and ready for their coffee, and I was like, hey, what's up? And Morning Sunshine. But I was going to do lattes and cinnamon rolls just to get it going, and
cool.
Sounds delicious.
Because my grandmother taught me how to make those cinnamon rolls. So
look for
good. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. So, any more comments from members of the public on this item? If not, I would entertain a motion, Mr. Elinsky. Oh, sorry. I'm just really failing tonight on my first readings. I'm batting.
You want to get it done? Yeah. We appreciate
that.
No,
so this is the first reading, and it will come back on the 17th. It'll be coming back on March 17th for the final reading. So it's ordinance number 609, and I would ask the deputy clerk, I am remembering this part, to read this by ordinance number 609 by title only.
Ordinance number 609, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Cottonwood, Arizona, amending Title V, business taxes, licenses, and regulations of the Cottonwood Municipal Code by deleting chapter 5.17, street vendors, in its entirety, and adding a new chapter 5.17, mobile food vendors.
All right, and you will notice on my agenda that I have first reading circled on several items. That doesn't mean I'm remembering to do it. Okay, waiver of sections 9.12.030, alcoholic beverages, and 13.16.030A, 5F of the Municipal Code for the Tilted Earth Music Wine Festival to be held at Riverfront Park June 19th through 20th, 2015, and authorization to close certain parking areas at the park during the event. Hezekiah Allen.
Madam Mayor, Council, thank you for this opportunity. The Parks and Recreation Department is ecstatic to be building a relationship with Page Springs Cellars. We see this program blossoming over many years to be something very exciting in this area and another draw to help promote Cottonwood as a destination and a great place to live.
Did you say destination?
Destination.
Oh, I thought I heard you say bestination. I kind of like that.
Okay, all right. It could be the cinnamon rolls.
That's right.
With that, you kind of summed it up, Madam Mayor. We are coming to ask for a waiver for Cottonwood Municipal Code Section 9.12.030, which prohibits glass containers at Riverfront Park. Second event-specific waiver. Municipal Code 13, TAC 16, TAC 010, which prohibits the use of water or misting systems to cool outdoor areas. And 3, the closure of certain parking areas at Riverfront Park. We want council to be aware that although we're asking for certain areas to be closed at Riverfront Park, it is not the entire park. We do understand that there are facilities there, for example, the skate park, the hockey rink, frisbee golf, that will still need to remain open. So we have designated parking areas for those specific amenities. As it concerns with glass bottles, obviously wine is predominantly carried in glass bottles, so they will need to be able to pour and sell bottles down at the event. And with misters, they don't plan to at this point use misters, but it's more of a safety precaution as that tends to be the hottest day of the year. So worst case scenario, we would use that if you guys deem necessary. With that, I'd like to call Lucas Bernard up. He's the off-site event coordinator for Page Springs Cellars. He can kind of fill you in on a little bit about the program, and we'll be coming back to council to inform you on the program at a later date as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm Luke Bernard. I'm coming here from Page Springs Cellars. Tilted Earth is something that we are really excited about. It's an extension of our general ideas and kind of our mission statement. There is obviously a very prolific wine industry growing in the area, and a big part of it is the culture of these wine festivals. We basically targeted that time of the year so that we weren't competing with other festivals around the state. The spring and the fall are definitely the busier times of the year. And definitely the foundation of this event is based around a showcase of Northern Arizona wineries. But again, an extension of our mission is we want it to really be all about community. We want the benefits of this event to extend beyond ourselves in a major way. This year we are extending it to a 2-day festival, and we kind of have a 5-year plan to potentially extend to a 4-year festival. Sorry, for a 4-day festival. You know, as for the glass containers, we are definitely planning on being proactive about eliminating issues, using a local recycling company, doing receptacles around the whole area. We are looking to regulate glass containers to a very specific area, which eliminates all paved parking lot areas. As for the misters, it's something that we don't see as super necessary, although one of the biggest complaints last year that we had was over dust, and we feel like mist could potentially eliminate that. We are changing our times to be a evening event compared to a midday event, which was super hot last year. So being that it is the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, potentially the hottest day of the year, it's something that we like the idea of, although again, it's not vital for our event. So,
Mr. Pratt?
Yeah, this seems like one more no-brainer for a few reasons. One is, it's a wine festival. Wine is served in bottles, so you have to have the glass wagons. And we have that for walking on Main, and it's never been a problem because it is in a contained area. The misters, I think, is a precautionary measure, is very good. If you do have to use them, good. If you don't, you don't. And I think last year you did close certain parts of the park, and I heard no complaints. It was a very successful event last year, and I think it's just going to continue to be successful. And considering what the wine industry has done for the economy, not just in Cottonwood, but the whole of Verde Valley, for us to have this event in Cottonwood, it just adds to one more thing to Cottonwood, and it helps make us a destination city. Was that it? And you know, we have Walking on Main, we have Thunder Valley Rally. It's just one more event that brings people to Cottonwood, and it's not only good for us as a cultural event, it brings great music, it's also great for the economy. So there are no downsides to this whatsoever. It was so well run last year, and I was out there at various times, set up, close up during it, and it was just really, really well managed and well done. I commend you folks on putting on this great festival, and I think Cottonwood should feel happy that you chose us as your location.
We do.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to talk a little bit about the misters, and I think I was probably one of the key people to get that in city code because it is a water saver. But I think in this circumstance, you have the health, safety, and welfare of your public that you are looking at, and that this could be an exception because we do want people to be safe. And it is, even at night, it's really hot at that time of year. So, I mean, if this keeps people safe, then I think an exception could be granted. Vice Mayor?
Isn't it held on grass?
Majority of it is, yes.
So the water would be beneficial also to the grass.
Very good.
Okay, Mr. Elinsky?
I just want to say I love the event. I'm glad that Cottonwood is able to host it again. I would agree with the mayor on the importance of our ordinance that would prohibit the misting devices. I think that I brought it up last year, so I'm going to bring it up again this year. I just think that when it comes down to health and safety, so if there's somebody who is overheated, I think this is how you used it last year, was to take them aside and cool them off.
Yeah.
But I really do think it's important just from a just so the ordinance is in effect for a reason, you know, because we do want to be water conscious, and we want to conserve water, but also we also want people to understand it. It's everyone has to have. I'm just afraid that if we miss the whole event, then people will think it's contrary to our policy essentially. So I would not be in favor of missing the whole event. I understand that if somebody is overheated, you need to get them aside and get them cooled off, but I wouldn't be in favor. I know it's the hottest time of the year, but that's.
And I think you probably, I'm not sure, but I think you might be in the minority on this one, but I'm not positive.
That's okay.
So.
But the fact is, though, that the water, even though it's on grass, I mean, it's all going to evaporate before it ever hits the grass. It wouldn't really be a benefit to it. I just think it's wasteful, frankly. So I would just, and it may not be an issue. Luke's raising his hand like it's.
Councilmember Linsky, that's a great point. We definitely take that in consideration. As the program last year made it one of their conscious efforts to make water conservation a forefront, which is why we partnered with Tom and the Water Use Resource Department and showcased the videos on water conservation through the Mingus Union High School. The Mister system, if they choose to use it, which is only an emergency situation, would be in the kind of emergency tent area. So it would be in a 10 by 10 tent, just as a cool down zone. And again, that's worst case scenario. We don't foresee having to use it.
I appreciate that. I just want to make it clear that it would be kind of odd to show the water conservation videos while you're missing the event. It just wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think we would ever have plans of attempting to mist that entire place.
Can we kill two birds and just go ahead and mist with wine? And that way it's kind of a, you know,
We covered that last year, and I think you didn't waste any water. It wasn't an issue.
They usually use a misting station, not so much the entire event.
We expressed our concerns, and you guys replied.
Mr. Garrison.
I just wanted to add to Terrence's comments earlier about being community-minded, and Page Springs has had a very successful run of harvest festivals, and that the impact to the Page Springs area, the impact to the winery was huge. It overgrew their ability to perform that in a bigger, better way that they strove to every year, and bringing it to Cottonwood, making it a community event, opening it up to all the other wineries. I really appreciate that you're doing that, and I appreciate that you're bringing it to our community as well. So I see this as just a win-win for everybody. It talks about family, it talks about celebration, and it's a great draw for our community, and I appreciate you bringing it here.
Again, happy to be here. It kind of makes sense to me that it would be in Cottonwood. You know, I run all of our events off-site, and 90% of them are Tucson or south of Tucson. You know, and the Verde Valley being such a huge hub to the wine industry, it kind of makes sense to be here.
And Cottonwood has advanced the wine industry and benefited from it.
And we are the heart of the Verde Valley wine industry.
And this is really much bigger than wine. I think that's one thing that people lose sight of is this, you know, the food truck's going to be an element. There's a huge music element to this. It really, the wine is kind of the underlying tone of the thing, but really it goes well beyond that. We just went down to the food truck festival and met Luke down there. He's scoping out some trucks to bring up, and it was amazing the way people interacted and the festival atmosphere in an environment that really wasn't a festival, but it created this real nice feeling, and I love that that's going to be a strong part of this year's event as well. So
it's a cultural event.
Okay, so I'm getting back to where I'm at. So with the Surface tablet, I have to go to Home, then I have to go to my agenda, and I have to click on the item to get there, which creates kind of a time lapse sometimes. Okay. Any comments from members of the public on this item? If not, I entertain a motion. Mr. Pratt?
I move to waive Cottonwood Municipal Code Sections 9.12.030 and 13.16.010 for the Tilted Earth Music Wine Festival to be held at Riverfront Park on June 19th and 20th, 2015, and to authorize staff to close certain parking areas during that event.
Second.
Mr. Pratt made the motion. Mr. Garrison seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, and wishing you the very best.
Me, and I know Page Springs owner Eric Lomsky wanted to be here. He couldn't be here, but I'm sure this will make him happy too. So.
And tell him thank you for all he does.
I appreciate your work.
Okay, item number 8 is ordinance number 610, amending Title I, General Provisions of the Cottonwood Municipal Code. And I do have circled first reading, so we'll see if I remember that. And let's see, getting to that item.
Pretty much we covered this, right? In their presentation. I think this was all covered in number 7.
Yeah.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, this is just the most boring
it's, yeah,
title.
Put you to sleep kind of code.
It's sort of the foundational and definitions, how to interpret provisions, how to reconcile provisions, the substantive provisions that come later, and it's just the first step in our steady march toward rewriting and modernizing and updating and simplifying our city code.
I've got a question. Maybe I'm on the wrong one. But is that the correct ordinance number?
611? No, 610.
I thought it was 610,
E-
and the other one's 611.
We're on item 8. Is that how you're getting confused?
We're on number 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm confused.
We did 7 earlier.
Yeah.
It looks like 611 was first and 610 is second on the agenda.
On the agenda, yes.
So
I think we're good.
this is 610.
Any other questions on?
Any questions?
No.
Okay, it's pretty straightforward, I think. Any comments from members of the public on ordinance number 610, the first reading of ordinance number 610? If not, I would ask the deputy clerk to read ordinance number 610 by title only.
Ordinance number 610, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Cottonwood, Arizona, amending Title I, general provisions of the Cottonwood Municipal Code. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Claims and adjustments.
Move to pay claims and adjustments.
Second.
Mr. Garrison made the motion, the vice mayor seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I move to adjourn.
Second.
The mayor made the motion, Mr. Garrison seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.